5 minutes after I was sobbing about the sun, it's now peeking out of the clouds. What I had started doing and didn't mention before, I measure the light before exposure. The first reading I had initially got when I had started was at a reading that I know from previous trials would give me a time much longer than 15 minutes. Taking another reading, I'm getting a number that is much better to work with. And this reading brings me closer to the range of 15 minutes. It's still a little bit of a gamble, but it's more or less what I've been using as my guidelines. So this is print number 1. You'll notice that at the top here it is blue. This was the background that was white. The black background that I had placed here was not high enough, and I know I could have went back and fixed it, but I was in such a race with the time and the sun because it was a day where it was just in and out, in and out. And to be honest, I was a little bit stressed because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to prepare all of this stuff and it ain't going to work out today. So I just kind of left it as is. But you can see that the black background does appear as white. This is not actually white. It is tinged with blue, but this is as white as it's going to get. The black tape went white. The blue vase went blue. Now this little white area here is the shadow of the rose on there. So that's why we're getting a little bit of that white in the blue area. But anyway, the flower went blue, as I figured out. We know that white goes blue. And the flowers here at the top, they do somewhat have a marbled look. So there's a little bit of white and a little bit of blue in there, and that's because I had spray painted them. If I had known, I would have spray painted them a little bit more, but you can kind of see what's going on there. With this first print, you know, the sun was out, it was great, but then after it just disappeared. So I made a decision to expose it for 30 minutes. Now, out of curiosity, I placed the same subject in front of a white background. The white background should go blue, and I thought it would be interesting to make a comparison between the two. And this is the result. This is the same subject, but with a white background, the white background that should go blue. I just had to do it. I had to see what it would look like with a blue background, and so that is what I did. And here we see a very nice tonal range. We see inside here that it's blue. We do have the shadow of the flower falling in there. The black tape did go white. And the flowers here again, they're kind of marbled a little bit. Now let's have a look at them side by side. And here they are. So this was with a black background, which renders as white, and this is with a white background, rendering as blue. So the sun is in full bloom right now. It's perfect. It's where I want it to be. But in reality, it really isn't only based on the amount of light. It's really based on the amount of UV light that's present. But of course, having not enough light does not give off much reflection. I am using a black background, which should go white. And I'm also helping it out a bit by reflecting some light here with a handmade reflector. This is just a thick piece of construction paper. It's actually quite big. I'm able to fold it to the size that I'll need it for. And I bought a silver reflective material, and I just taped it over it, and I use it as a handheld reflector. So once again, the sun is kind of going down, so it's an in-between day again. The 15 minutes that I was going to do, I'm going to have to increase that time, and that's going to be a guess, because I'm not sure. Now this one really didn't come out as great. The flower is a little bit wonky. Again, there was a problem with that sun that just kept going in and out, and for most of the exposure there was not much sun. I left it out for about 45 minutes, and then I said, you know, I'm gonna just end it there because I didn't want to waste any more time, because it was just so unpredictable. But we do have the butterfly as blue, and we have the tape appearing as black. We also have the vase appearing as white, and the flower is somewhere in there. It's a little bit, you know, again, marbled because I did spray paint it with white. You know, this generally does not have a good enough exposure. One thing I should have done is I should have spray painted the center of the flower completely white, so you would have that center circle appearing as blue, and I think it would guide you more to seeing the petals of the flower. And I also did do it with a white background. So here it is with the white background. Again, we have the colors appearing as I felt they would appear. Now let's have a look at them side by side. And this is print number 3. This is my favorite of the bunch. The sun was out just long enough for that 50 minutes, and I love this one. I'm not going to go through all the colors. We do see exactly what's going on here. Everything that I had guessed is exactly what is. And here is it with a black background. Now I know I was suggested to use a 50% gray background, and to tell you the truth, I don't have anything that's 50% gray as a background. I had a gray t-shirt, but the t-shirt was not a medium gray. It was a very light gray, and it was kind of speckled, so I didn't really want to use it. And here is print number 4. I'm going to tell you guys, I was so disappointed of this print. I was really hoping for it to look better. Of course, you have those little markings from the brushing. I did try to DIY a glass rod, and it worked out horribly. And I'm not even going to show you how it looks like. And it just did not work out well. During the exposure, actually the tape unglued and the hands came loose. I'm just really not seeing that definition that I wanted to see and hoping to see with the mannequin, because you know where this is going, right? Eventually. Anyway, this was done with a white background, and you can see the shadow here, which is something that came to mind, and I'm like, man, if it could work with diffused lighting to kind of omit the shadows falling everywhere. It's also placing the subject in a position where, you know, you can try and avoid the shadows falling onto it, but with the limited space that I have, and trying to work in a different way, it just wouldn't work. So we have the skirt going blue, and the flowers are blue. The mannequin, as we can see, is more or less white. I did not take into consideration the silver pole or the base. I would have done something. I would have maybe just masked on top of this base with white so it would appear blue. And I would have made the pole here, I would have also just either liquid papered it with white, or find white stickers and just make it white. I would have done that. And here it is with a white background, and this just looks horribly wrong. I did make a design on the skirt. You can't really see it. It's a little hard to see. And what I should have done is I should have made the lines much thicker. There would have been more of a definition of the design, because it's kind of all jumbled in there. And it doesn't help with the little markings of the paper that had peeled off either, so it's not very clear. I tried to do it one more time, and again, it's just horrible. So guys, this is the last video on this study for now. I hope you enjoyed this rocky road. I will be focusing on the pellet process, so you might not see anything on the cyanotype for a while. But I do have a time frame, because the summer is closing in real fast and I gotta try and figure it out before then. And I'm sure you're probably wondering how they would look after having been scanned and inverted. I will share the results of those in the next couple of days.